Good morning, friends, and welcome back to Trans India. Real people, real emotions. Once again, the week gone by was a very happening one for the road transport as well as the automobile industry. A lot of events, a lot of activities. We have more reports on that in our episode today and a very special interview with a person who brought international logistics to India. Trans India will be talking to Mr. Pirojsha Sarkari in our interaction segment. But first, here are the major headlines this week. Tata Motors registered total sales of 62,192 units in November 2021, grows by 25% over last year. Intercity Smart Bus and Daimler India to launch intercity buses pre-fitted with Mobility OS. Department of Posts releases commemorative postage stamp to mark 75 years of the Mahindra Group. Ashok Leyland sales up 5% in November 2021. West Bengal takes strict steps for truck drivers coming from Bangladesh. Logos and Mahindra Logistics developing 1.4 million square feet of multi-client BTS warehouses in Delhi NCR in India's largest warehousing lease. Road logistics market in India to reach $330 billion by 2025. Tata Motors delivers 60 Ultra Urban 9x9 electric buses to Ahmedabad Jagmarg Limited. Ecom Express launches its first all-women delivery center in the country. Mumbai RTOs levy new fines on trucks for overloading. All these reports and news and our exclusive interview with Mr. Pirojsha Sarkari coming out right up after this short break. Keep watching Trans India.
याद है कुछ इसी तरह का स्टंट मैंने आज से करीब 30 साल पहले भी किया था, लेकिन आज इस डबल ट्रक्स के स्टंट की वजह कुछ और है। डबल गारंटी पेश है नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 जो आता है डबल गारंटी के साथ। महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनके नए महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 का माइलेज आपके मौजूदा ट्रक से ज्यादा है। अगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस। नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 आपको देता है गारंटीड रीसेल वैल्यू 5 साल के बाद। खरीदते समय माइलेज की गारंटी और बेचते समय रीसेल वैल्यू की गारंटी, तो हुई ना डबल गारंटी।
वेलकम बैक फ्रेंड्स टू ट्रांस इंडिया। पिछले कुछ हफ्तों से हम कहते आ रहे हैं कि रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट इंडस्ट्री एंड द ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री और ऑन द पाथ टू रिकवरी। ट्रकों की मूवमेंट बढ़ चुकी है और साथ ही साथ ट्रक के सेल्स भी बढ़ते जा रहे हैं। पिछले महीने भी ट्रक मैन्युफैक्चरर्स ने बेटर सेल्स रिपोर्ट किए। India's leading commercial vehicle manufacturer Tata Motors registered encouraging growth in November 2021 as compared to the same period last year. In the commercial vehicle domestic market, Tata Motors recorded an overall growth of 8%, while exports recorded a growth of 124%. In the M&HCV segment, Tata Motors sold 6,266 vehicles in November 2021, which is 10% more than last year. In the I&LCV segment, Tata Motors sold 5,099 vehicles, a jump of 27% over the same period last year. In the SCV and pickup segment, however, Tata Motors sold 28,295 vehicles, which is almost same as last year. On the exports front, Tata Motors exported 3,950 vehicles, an increase of 124% over last year. Coming to India's other leading commercial vehicle manufacturer, Ashok Leyland, the company did good in the bus segment, although the truck segment remained more or less flat. During November 2021, Ashok Leyland sold 4,163 trucks, 2% lower than last year. In the bus segment, however, the company recorded a growth of 171%, selling 498 buses. However, during the period April to November 2021, Ashok Leyland recorded a growth of 82% in the truck segment and 192% in the bus segment. In the last 8 months, Ashok Leyland sold 28,006 trucks as compared to 15,415 trucks in the same period last year. दोस्तों, लॉकडाउन के बाद ट्रक्स तो सड़क पर चल रहे थे, लेकिन बसेस मोर और लेस कंप्लीटली ऑफ द रोड थे। पैसेंजर बस सेगमेंट वाज अंडर अ लॉट ऑफ स्ट्रेस। और हमने जब बोकी प्रेसिडेंट श्री प्रसन्ना पटवर्धन जी से बात की, उन्होंने भी कंफर्म किया कि मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द बसेस वर ऑफ द रोड एंड कंपनीज आर इन अ लॉट ऑफ ट्रबल। लेकिन पिछले कुछ हफ्तों से पैसेंजर सेगमेंट सीम्स टू बी गेटिंग बैक टू नॉर्मल। द गुड ओल्ड डेज आर येट टू कम बैक, but people seem to be getting back to passenger transportation and companies are gearing up to provide better services and better facilities to passengers. Keeping sync with this sentiment, leading intercity mobility brand Intercity announced its partnership with commercial vehicle manufacturer Daimler India to launch intercity buses pre-fitted with mobility operating system, besides providing best-in-class safety and comfort to travelers. The partnership intends to accelerate the adoption of technology within the mobility sector and benefits the bus operators, which include better pricing, special annual maintenance package, and insurance. Intercity Smart Bus operates over 170 buses and was currently adding over 50 plus buses monthly. The partnership would help accelerate the adoption of such buses, a company statement said. Meanwhile, Mr. Rajaram Krishnamurthy, Vice President Sales and Customer Services of Daimler India Commercial Vehicle, said, "It is our privilege to support Intercity Smart Bus in their initiative to provide local bus operators with best possible vehicle for their needs and their passengers." But there's more happening in the passenger bus segment. Strengthening its commitment towards promoting sustainable mobility, Tata Motors delivered 60 best-in-class electric buses to Ahmedabad Jagmarg Limited (AJL). The Tata Ultra Urban 9x9 AC buses were flagged off at the Sabarmati Riverfront Event Centre by Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat Mr. Bhupendra Patel and Honorable Mayor of Ahmedabad Mr. Kirit Kumar Parmar. Also present at the events were dignitaries from the Gujarat State Board, Ahmedabad Jagmarg Limited and Tata Motors. The 24-seater zero-emission buses have been supplied under the FAME 2 initiative by means of a gross cost contract with AJL and will run on Ahmedabad's Bus Rapid Transit System corridor. Tata Motors will also be setting up required charging infrastructure and support systems to ensure smooth functioning of the buses. The Tata Ultra Urban 9x9 AC electric buses are powered by full electric drivetrains with a maximum power of 328 HP and a maximum torque of 3000 Newton meters. Their roomy interiors come with plush interior lighting and can be customized as per application and regulations. Commenting on the occasion, Mr. Rohit Srivastava, Vice President Product Line Buses Tata Motors, said, "We are delighted to deliver Tata Ultra Urban 9x9 electric buses to AJL. With a steady commitment towards modernizing public transportation and integrating sustainability in the designing of futuristic vehicles, Tata Motors has led the move towards electric mobility in the country. The Ultra Urban 9x9 has been built to provide enhanced comfort, safety and efficiency with noiseless operations and zero emissions. The delivery of these buses will further cement our fruitful association with AJL and foster eco-friendly mass mobility in Ahmedabad," added Mr. Rohit Srivastava. And there is more good news for the road transport industry. For the last few months, we have been saying time and again that road transport industry seems to be getting back to normal, and not just normal. We see companies poised for growth. The data and statistics coming from the government clearly suggest that truck movement is on the rise and will continue for the next few years at least. And this report showcases what's in store for the future for the road transport industry. The road logistics market in India is expected to grow at a compounded annual growth rate of 8% in the next 5 years and will reach USD 330 billion by 2025. This growth will be fueled by factors such as rapidly growing e-commerce sector and a growing retail sales market, among others. The above data is part of the Intercity Logistics Market Study released by consulting firm Red Seeds early stage research arm Redcore. As per the report, the road logistics market in India is to grow at a compounded annual growth rate of 8% in the next 5 years, making it a USD 330 billion market by 2025. The intercity road logistics spend in India stood at USD 209 billion in 2021, accounting for around 87% of total road logistics spend as per the study. Out of this, the on-demand or the spot market accounted for 63% of the total spend, while the contract market accounted for the remaining 37%. And that's not all. There is more good news for the automobile segment and a huge achievement for the Mahindra Group. Coming up right after this short break, keep watching Trans India.
याद है, कुछ इसी तरह का स्टंट मैंने आज से करीब 30 साल पहले भी किया था। लेकिन आज इस डबल ट्रक्स के स्टंट की वजह कुछ और है। डबल गारंटी। पेश है नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7, जो आता है डबल गारंटी के साथ। महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनके नए महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 का माइलेज आपके मौजूदा ट्रक से ज्यादा है। अगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस। नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 आपको देता है गारंटीड रीसेल वैल्यू 5 साल के बाद। खरीदते समय माइलेज की गारंटी और बेचते समय रीसेल वैल्यू की गारंटी। तो हुई ना डबल गारंटी।
Welcome back friends to Trans India. The Mahindra Group is celebrating its 75 years and the Government of India is happy to be part of these celebrations. A special commemorative postage stamp to mark the 75th anniversary of Mahindra Group was released by Devusingh Chauhan, the Honorable Minister of State for Communications, along with Mr. Anand Mahindra, Chairman Mahindra Group, in the presence of officials from the Department of Post and colleagues from the Mahindra Group. Speaking on the occasion, Devusingh Chauhan, Honorable Minister for State for Communications, said, over the last 75 years, the Mahindra Group, through its various businesses in farming, automotive, finance, IT and telecommunications, has contributed significantly towards the growth and development of our nation. Remarking on the group's journey, Mr. Anand Mahindra, Chairman Mahindra Group, said, "We at the Mahindra Group are truly honored to have this commemorative postage stamp issued on our 75th anniversary and are thankful to the Department of Posts and Honorable Minister for this acknowledgement." Commencing its journey as a steel trading venture 7 decades ago, Mahindra was founded with a vision of being a firm imbued with a national purpose and a new outlook. Since then, Mahindra Group has steadily evolved into a global brand spanning nations and industries. We are proud of our legacy and are humbled by the opportunities we have had along the way to contribute to the rise of our nation. As we take the next steps in our journey, we are committed to driving growth and prosperity. I thank this opportunity to thank all associates, partners and stakeholders for their contributions in our efforts towards helping people rise. The RISE philosophy, as the Mahindra Group calls it. Besides automobiles and road transport, the other segment which has been growing steadily and is looking at a very bright future is warehousing. And companies are already setting up their infrastructure to bank on the opportunities that would come in the warehousing segment. Mahindra Logistics, one of India's largest third-party logistics solution providers, and Logos, a leading Asia-Pacific logistics specialist, have announced a long-term lease agreement for 1.4 million square feet of warehousing facility at the Logos Luhari Logistics Estate in Delhi NCR. The transaction represents India's largest warehousing facility in a single park. Under the agreement, Logos will develop 3 Grade A warehouses totaling 1.4 million square feet for MLL at the Logos Luhari Logistics Estate. The first 0.5 million square feet warehouse, which was completed in mid-2021, is fully operational, and the other 2 warehouses are currently under development with delivery in late 2021 and early 2022. Mr. Ram Praveen Swaminathan, Managing Director and CEO of Mahindra Logistics Limited, said, "Continuing our efforts in growing our warehousing business, we are delighted to announce the launch of our Luhari warehousing facilities in partnership with Logos. Our focus remains on providing integrated, customized solutions for inbound and fulfillment, and the warehousing network is a key element. We look forward to continued business growth from existing as well as potential customers from all regions. These new facilities set a benchmark in terms of sustainability." Mehul Shah, CEO of Logos Indian Business, said, "We are pleased to have partnered with Mahindra Logistics Limited, one of the fastest growing integrated logistics companies in India, to support the significant growth in this region. We will be delivering MLL's 3 warehouses under lean construction, a process which involves using off-site precast, fabrication and pre-assembly for building and external development components. This, in conjunction with our strong local network and regional expertise, has enabled us to deliver the first facility within rigorous timelines despite the challenges of the global pandemic." Talking of the pandemic, friends, the Omicron variant seems to be coming into India, and India is taking all precautions for all kind of movement coming in from its borders. After cases of Omicron COVID-19 variant were detected in India, the West Bengal government has taken measures to quarantine the truck drivers in the border areas conduct RT-PCR tests, restrict the movement of trucks carrying various commodities from Bangladesh through the Indo-Bangladesh border in several districts including Petrapol in North 24 Parganas district and Ghojadanga in Barihat Malta, Murshidabad and several other places. West Bengal shares around 2,216 km long border with Bangladesh, and that covers 10 of the 23 districts of the state. Trucks carrying several commodities ply daily between both the countries through several districts in Bengal, with the most significant being the Petrapol. Petrapol is the border checkpost between India and Bangladesh. For some reason, women and logistics don't seem to go hand in hand. However, not anymore. For the last few years, we have been seeing a sea change, and women have been donning a lot of hats in the logistics segment, in various positions, in various capacities, handling loads of work. While women are working hard to make a mark for themselves in the logistics segment, it is heartening that companies are allowing women to work in various positions which earlier were held by men. Ecom Express Limited, one of the leading technology-enabled end-to-end logistics solutions providers to the e-commerce industry, announced the launch of its first all-women delivery center in Delhi today. The All-Women Delivery Center is an initiative towards empowering women and providing them financial independence while strengthening the company's diversity and inclusion agenda. Women Force have already been inducted in the delivery center, and it will be the first time in the company that a 10-member team, exclusively comprising women from the ranks of delivery center head to delivery associates, will be engaged independently in all operational activities. Inaugurating the All-Women Delivery Center, Manju Dhawan, co-founder Ecom Express Limited, said, "The launch of our All-Women Delivery Center is a conscious agenda and an extension of our continued effort to supporting women with opportunities that empower them to grow and economically elevate them. Our aim is to create more and more opportunities for female team members across roles, including frontline delivery role, as we remain steadfast in our approach to support them and their career progression." Trans India wishes all the best to all these 10 women, and we hope that they make the company and the industry proud. In fact, very soon we shall be launching a special series where we will be carrying the story, the challenges and the journey of women in the logistics industry. Stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, while the industry is changing, there's one thing that they say, old habits die hard. जी हाँ दोस्तों, पुरानी आदतें मुश्किल से छूटती हैं, और एक ऐसी आदत जो रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट इंडस्ट्री से चिपकी हुई है, if we may use the word, वो है overloading. कई सालों से, in fact for the last many decades, the industry has been trying to get rid of overloading, and we don't understand why is it such a difficult task. हम सब जानते हैं कि जब ट्रक्स ओवरलोड होते हैं, उनका फ्यूल माइलेज कम हो जाता है, उनकी मेंटेनेंस बढ़ जाती है, वेयर एंड टेयर बढ़ जाता है, टायर्स की लाइफ कम हो जाती है, एंड सिर्फ कस्टमर्स को इसका फ़ायदा होता है. लेकिन फिर भी हम ट्रक्स ओवरलोड करते हैं. अक्रॉस इंडिया पुलिस कोशिश कर रही है कि वो ट्रक्स को ओवरलोड करने से रोकें. हैवी पेनल्टीज भी लगाई गई हैं, लेकिन फिर भी ओवरलोड एक ऐसी चीज़ है जो इंडस्ट्री का साथ नहीं छोड़ रही. और अब हाल ही में मुंबई पुलिस ने क्रैकडाउन शुरू किया है ओवरलोडेड ट्रक्स पर. With Mumbai Traffic Police yet to implement the new compounding fines, the RTOs have started levying hefty fines for traffic offences across Maharashtra. For the first time ever, overloading of trucks has attracted such huge fines. While in one case, overloading of 2 tons attracted Rs 52,000 in fine and 90 days of cancellation of license by Latur RTO. In another case, the fine was the highest so far at Rs 68,000 for a truck caught at the state borders. Now for overloading, driver and truck owners have to pay Rs 20,000 each, the highest ever fine for this offence in Maharashtra. The offender will also have to pay an additional fine of Rs 2,000 per ton of excess load and the liability of expenditure for offloading the vehicle in the presence of RTO officials. हम रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट इंडस्ट्री से रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि वो ओवरलोडिंग को छोड़ दें. यह एक ऐसी आदत है जिसे हमें छोड़ना ही पड़ेगा. हम सब जानते हैं सप्लाई डिमांड किस तरफ है. अगर हम ओवरलोड करते रहे, हम किसी और भाई का, हमारे इंडस्ट्री में से किसी भाई का काम हम ले रहे हैं, और साथ ही साथ देश को भी नुकसान हो रहा है. रोड कंडीशंस आर गेटिंग बैड बिकॉज ऑफ ओवरलोडिंग. द गवर्नमेंट इज स्पेंडिंग लैक्स एंड क्रोर्स ऑफ रुपीज, और हम भी टोल भर रहे हैं. लेकिन हम ही अगर रोड का नुकसान करेंगे तो ये हमारे इंडस्ट्री के लिए और हमारे देश के लिए ठीक नहीं होगा. And friends, now it's time for our interaction segment. This week we will be talking to a very special guest who has transformed the logistics industry. In fact, he is responsible for giving birth to 3 major companies in India. Many of you would know by now who we are referring to. Yes friends, this week we shall be talking to Mr. Piroj Shah Sarkari, also known as Phil in the logistics segment. This time he is donning the hat of the newly appointed CEO of Gati, which is now part of the All Cargo Group. Gati, as we all know, has been an iconic brand in the express segment. It had gone downhill for the last couple of years, but Phil is looking to get it back, and as he calls it, this is going to be Gati 2.0. But just to know a little more about Phil, Phil is an exceptional leader with a strong belief in teamwork, technology adoption, and process-led growth. A visionary who performs well in complex situations and builds organizations from startups to institutions. A pragmatically inclusive manager who builds efficient and diverse teams and cultures on the principles of people, process and profit. A popular leader owing to excellent communication skills and transparency in relationships. A lot of questions for Phil. Talking to Phil on his journey in the logistics segment and what are his plans for Gati 2.0. How is he going to take the company back to its glorious days? Coming up in our interaction segment right after this short break. Keep watching Trans India.
याद है कुछ इसी तरह का स्टंट मैंने आज से करीब 30 साल पहले भी किया था, लेकिन आज इस डबल ट्रक्स के स्टंट की वजह कुछ और है। डबल गारंटी पेश है नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 जो आता है डबल गारंटी के साथ। महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनके नए महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 का माइलेज आपके मौजूदा ट्रक से ज्यादा है। अगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस। नया महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो 7 आपको देता है गारंटीड रीसेल वैल्यू 5 साल के बाद। खरीदते समय माइलेज की गारंटी और बेचते समय रीसेल वैल्यू की गारंटी, तो हुई ना डबल गारंटी।
Welcome friends to Trans India and a warm welcome to Mr. Pirojsha Sarkari. Thank you Phil for sparing time for us. Well Phil, you've been a veteran in the logistics industry, a young veteran I would like to say. And not just that, you've been a pioneer in various initiatives for this segment. You started UPS, you were instrumental in scaling up Mahindra Logistics. What was that instinct that made you say yes to Gati?
First of all, thank you for having me on this show of yours. I think very few people know this, but I have given birth to now 3 logistics companies in the country. Way back when I was with Jet Air, Aramex was started by me in India, and very few people know this. Jet Air was the licensee for Aramex in India, and that was my stepping stone into logistics actually. So we set up Aramex in India. I led that whole project for 3 years. Then of course UPS for 10 years. Again, there was no UPS in India. It was an agent LB. And LB was more promoting the LB brand rather than the UPS brand. So that was a project where I had to even introduce the brand into the country. And then of course came Mahindra Logistics. As everybody knows, while Mahindra was very well known in the country, Mahindra Logistics as a company was not really known. So again, recreating a brand for me in the country, but that was a very, very successful stint. We IPO'd Mahindra Logistics in flat 7 years of my being there, and then the rest is of course history. It is one of the best and largest contract logistics companies. So coming to your question, Ritik, you know, when the chairman of the All Cargo Group, Mr. Shashikiran Shetty, approached me, first of all, I was a little taken aback because being in the logistics industry for 30 years, I did not really know the All Cargo Group so well. And I think very few people know this, that the All Cargo is really one of India's multinational companies. And I say this because, you know, one can say Tata's is a multinational, Mahindra's is a multinational, so on and so forth. But the presence that All Cargo has in over 100 countries, in actually operating in those 100 countries, makes it a true multinational company. And then the sheer vision and passion that I saw in Shashikiran Shetty kind of told me that this is the right job for me, for my last innings, of course, as I call it. And I said, besides, of course, the sheer governance that this group brings in an industry like logistics, which of course is very close to my heart, I could see that this group really wants to make it big in the logistics industry, and specifically in what I call the fulfillment logistics. And fulfillment logistics is basically getting the manufactured products reached to the end consumer. And what better than Gati? Gati was once an iconic brand. Yes, we all know that in the last 5 to 8 years, Gati's name has been slightly tarnished, but now here is the opportunity for us to bring it back to where it was as the leading express company in India.
Phil, you said earlier that you gave birth to 3 kids in the logistics space. Is there any way that these 3 kids could come together and form an alliance which would be one of the largest in the world? Is that a possibility somewhere?
Interesting question. Well, as you know, UPS is the world's largest express company. I don't think for UPS today it is already 100% subsidiary in India. And all multinational companies who have been in India in some shape or form have kind of handed over operations to Indian companies. You look at the FedEx delivery deal that currently happened. So I would never say no to your question. There's always an opportunity to align with these world-class companies.
Phil, as you said, you've given birth to 3 companies, but Gati is more like an adopted child. How different is this assignment, and what are the challenges that have come along?
Yeah, you're right. I would not call this assignment as giving birth to a company. I think this assignment, I call it Gati 2.0. And the reason I call it Gati 2.0 is we now have the challenge of resurrecting a brand which was an iconic brand in the past. I think there are 3 important elements to resurrecting the brand. And these, which I have said earlier also in my various interviews, are bringing in fresh talent into the organization, building the infrastructure for the future, because as you know, any express company requires large hubs so that the truck turnaround time is minimized. I think very few people know this, that for express logistics, it is not just space. So you could have a 100,000 square feet warehouse, but if you do not have loading, unloading bays in that warehouse, then it just doesn't help. So we have identified 7 cities to start with, where we'll be building out very large hubs. We have already completed Ambala, and we are moving into Farrukhnagar now. We are going to open up this facility later this month. This is going to be one of India's best hubs, I can assure you that. I was there to just review the progress, and I myself was taken aback that something like this in India, because this is world-class infrastructure. It has 85 bays over there. So the second, like I said, is building the infrastructure, and the third is digitization. I think digitization for the future of logistics plays a very, very critical role. And these are the 3 elements that I will be concentrating on in the next 15 months, before, of course, we get into all the big words like artificial intelligence and, machine learning, etc., which, according to me, will ultimately come in. Yeah.
Phil, Gati, as we all know, has been an iconic brand. In fact, Gati set benchmarks for various companies in the express division. What are the reasons for the company going downhill?
Well, from my perspective, I think the company got distracted. And why I say distracted is, instead of concentrating on pure express, surface and air logistics, a lot of diversification started taking place. Diversification in the form of cold chain, diversification in the form of import-export business, diversification in the form of air freight business. And if you try to do everything with the same talent that you have in the organization, just believing that this talent has made express logistics good, then that's the big mistake. So I think the most important thing that the All Cargo Group has decided is we will get rid of all the other distractions that were built into Gati, which they have successfully done over the last 18 months, and now concentrate on the core business of Gati, which is express logistics, both surface and air.
Well, Phil, we've heard that you are an expert chef, a master chef, and they say in cooking that it is always easy to make up a new dish rather than correcting one that has gone wrong. By that means, would Gati be the most challenging assignment of your career so far?
So I would not agree to what you said as an comparative to Gati, or especially the B2B express logistics business. A lot of people do not know this, but the barrier to entry in a B2B express logistics business is very high. You cannot start a B2B express logistics business by saying I will start with 2 city pairs and then I will increase it to 3 city pairs, etc. Today, Gati has covered over 90% of the zip codes in India, whether it is pickup or delivery. And this has been done over a period of a good 20 odd years. So for me, if that base was not there and somebody told me that you start an express logistics B2B company, here are a few $1 million, that would not be ideal, because today to build that kind of network would take a lot of time and energy. So what Gati has given us is the base. It is already intact. The reach of Gati is there. What is now to be done is convert that reach into the organization culturally becoming customer centric, right? And what do I mean by customer centric? See, basically, express logistics in simple parlance, the customer only needs 3 things. 1, reach his shipment on time. Number 2, reach his shipment in full. What does that mean? It means that if I give you 10 packages, don't deliver 9 on time and then deliver 1 after 25 days because it is lost somewhere in the system, because the order on the other side is for 10 packages, right? And therefore the order has not been fulfilled, and in logistics, order to cash becomes extremely important. So if you don't deliver in full, you don't receive cash. So it doesn't make sense. And the third and important thing, which is now even more important for the customer, is visibility. And when I say visibility, I mean visibility of data. And this has really come about in the last 8 to 10 years, I would say, in express logistics. And I would blame the e-commerce companies for this. They have spoiled the consumer, right? Today, if you order anything on an Amazon or a Flipkart, you are getting notifications every single day. You know when that shipment will arrive. If it is not going to arrive, you know in advance that it is not going to arrive. And life becomes so much more simpler. Now the customer who is receiving an Amazon package is also a B2B customer. And he says, if Amazon can do it, why can't you? Not understanding that Amazon has taken about 25 years and billions of dollars put in to get you that kind of technology. So yes, the expectation is high and we will have to meet up with the expectation, and therefore digitization becomes extremely important. There is also a lot of friction between a logistics company and a customer, right? So returns, for example. Again, e-commerce companies have made returns so easy. All that you have to do is make a call and or go online and the return is done without question. B2B will take some time on that because, you know, we are not geared up to pick up 100 kilos back just because there is a slight damage or because the customer doesn't like it, you know. So yes, these are the three things that we will have to put in place.
Phil, you have been in the logistics segment for over 3 decades now. And as you all know, this segment has seen a lot of changes, some that are beyond imagination. What would be the 3 distinctive changes that you would have seen in your career so far?
Well, the first change and the most important change that has happened is the definition of the term customer. And why I say this is, in the olden days, the customer was the person who gave you the goods and who contracted with you. Today, the customer's customer becomes your customer. Let me explain this. I think it's a little confusing. So let's say Samsung gives me boxes to be delivered to its distributor, right? Samsung, of course, has the contract with Gati. Samsung is the one giving me the business, but I have to satisfy the distributor. If I do not satisfy the distributor, then the distributor can influence Samsung to say, please change your service provider. I don't want my goods to come with Gati, right? So I think that has to be recognized, that the customer itself has changed, the receiver of the goods. And when I say become a customer-centric organization, we have to realize who the customer is. And that's a very big change that has happened. If you remember the good old days, you know, when we bought a Bajaj scooter, we would wait, right? Because that time the manufacturer was king. Sometimes you wait for 5 years, sometimes you wait for 10 years. You had no choice, right? So what would you do? You wait. And therefore, the whole definition at that time was the manufacturer is king, right? Today, the receiver of the goods has a choice. He can tell the customer that, hey, listen, either you change the logistics service provider or I go to somebody else to get those goods, you know. And therefore, that's the biggest change that has happened. Number 2, which I already said a few minutes ago, is visibility. I think it is not enough to move goods. We have to wrap every package with data around it. And that becomes extremely important because data is king, right? A customer realizes that logistics is never going to be 100% on time, right? But the 5%, 4% that it is not on time, he expects to be told before the due date. He expects that, you know, the logistics service provider informs him in advance so he can make alternate arrangements, right? Because at the end of every delivery is a sale. And therefore, if he misses that sale, that's a big cost to him. And the third and most critical part, which I tell my customers, is why do businesses use Express? Because the seller of the goods wants to really enable the buyer of the goods by telling him, hey, you don't need to now keep stock for 1 month or for 45 days. I'm going to use Gati, and in 2 days or in 3 days, you're going to get your order delivered. And that is where the future of express logistics is there. We are going to enable the purchaser in such a way that he doesn't need to keep stock at his godown or at his distribution center. He can keep minimal stock and be sure that once he orders, his order to delivery time is fixed and he will get his stock in that time. And that reduces the cost of goods in a big way.
Phil, back in the day, Gati was a revolutionary idea and one of the few companies in the express space. But today we see a lot more players, especially in the fringe segment. So what are the plans to get Gati back to its niche?
I think again, it's a misnomer. If you really look at B2B business in India, there are just 4 national players that come up to you. And these are, of course, Gati, Safe Express, TCI Express and Spot On. There is no real 5th player in the B2B national. And this is exactly what I meant earlier, that the entry barrier to a B2B express is very high. There are B2C players that are mushrooming, and this is happening only because of the e-commerce that is coming in. Now, you look at any B2C player, you realize that making money in B2C is extremely difficult. Why is that so? Because the demand supply balance in India is very skewed, right? And you have to have a balance in your loads when you are doing an express business. So now is the time when large B2C players are realizing that if they need to balance loads, they need B2B in their system. So instead of setting up and trying to create a B2B network, there is inorganic that is happening in the country. So I don't think there are too many players over here, and I don't think too many players will mushroom in the B2B segment. But having said that, yes, the B2C players can morph into B2B. It is not difficult for them. They are all technologically driven companies. They started with digitization. We are now digitizing our companies, and I don't think it's going to take much time and effort for us, because we have learned through lessons in history. If you look at the Kodaks of the world, or if you look at the Nokias of the world, they were proud of what they had and they thought nobody could come in there, and then they got destroyed. So we at Gati are very clear that if we do not digitize, we will die, and therefore digitization becomes extremely important for us.
Naturally, Phil, all these services and these add-ons come at a cost. So what are your plans to keep Gati's bottom line and top line in good shape?
One of the very good and early things that All Cargo did when they bought out Gati was to make it an asset-light company. So in the early years, so like I said before, as soon as they bought out Gati, which was about 18 months back, they first either sold off or stopped the so-called ancillary distraction businesses that were there. The second thing that they did is they sold off assets as in trucks which were owned by Gati were all sold off. A lot of hubs were owned by Gati. You see, that constricts you, because if you own a hub, how do you expand? Because you'll say, oh, I own this property, I have to utilize it. But our business is going to keep expanding, and therefore we need new hubs every maybe 5 years, 10 years. So they have sold off the owned hubs, and we are going asset light on that. And we are going to adopt the same strategy for digitization. We are not going to go into the market and buy some mammoth off-the-shelf system. We're going to develop GEMS 2.0. And very few people know this, that GEMS was developed by Gati itself, I think approximately 15 years back, and it was one of the best technologies used by any Indian logistics company at that point of time. The architect of GEMS luckily is still with us in Gati, and so we have now decided to get into GEMS 2.0. It will be inbuilt, created in-house, of course requires a lot more people, so we are going to ramp up our IT digital department, but everything that we do, we are adopting an asset-light strategy. So all this will come out of internal accruals for us.
Phil, how important is the support system from All Cargo in getting Gati back to shape?
So the only reason I am here is because All Cargo has bought out Gati. Let me put it very bluntly to you over here. I think I have realized over the different organizations that I have worked in that when you are working for an organization and if its core business is logistics, then you're good to work there. If an ancillary business of that group is logistics, it becomes extremely difficult to draw attention of the top management of that group. And as you know, all cargo, not a core, but only business is logistics. So number one is they understand the industry extremely well. Number two is that the governance standards that have been set up in EQ and all cargo are way above what the logistics industry generally in India was. That was very heartening to note for me. And number three is the chairman is very dynamic. He really wants to put his might behind Gati to make it India's best logistics company. So I think extremely important that a group like All Cargo bought out Gati, and clear focus on making it the iconic brand once again that it was.
Well friends, that was part 1 of our exclusive interview with Mr. Piroj Shah Sarkari. Next week we shall continue talking to Phil and know more about how he plans to get Gati 2.0 back to its glorious days. Stay tuned and keep watching Trans India. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and spread the word around. Until next week, stay safe. Jai Hind.